just in few words I'll introduce the film. In this film, as the title of the film, The Word and the Teacher, this is a trilingual film because Kittel is a German, so obviously his mother tongue was German. He came to southern part of India and learned Kannada and English here. So he used to communicate with Britishers and others in English, with local people in Kannada. And back in their office, which is the head office in Basel, which is now in Switzerland, back then it was part of Germany. So 3 languages. So the film is also in 3 languages. So English subtitle is there. So predominantly you will see the film from Kittel's point of view. This is first person narration. And it's a period film. So as Ferdinand sir said, I am trying to recreate and revisit those times. So it's a period film, it's a first person narration, trilingual film. And the way I have tried to knit together this whole narrative is using the letters that he has written, because I had to do, this film has taken 3 years to make, so a lot of research has gone into it, and at my disposal there were letters written by Kittel to his superiors, his family members, to British officers. So those letters I have made use of. The work that he has written, of course, as Varadesh said, Kannada English Dictionary is the biggest contribution of Kittel. Apart from that, he has authored 40 scholarly works. Not much is known in the popular, 40 scholarly works he has authored, because he came to southern part of India when he was 21-year-old, and he died around when he was 72 or so, back in Germany. So more than 40 years he has spent in India, especially this part of Mangalore, Dharwad, Madikeri, these regions. So his entire journey I am narrating from his voice, and you will see all the places where he has lived and worked out of. All the places here in South India as well as in Germany. So constructed using the archival photographs, the letters, the reports, his own works that he has written, translation. These are the things that have been used to construct the narrative. So with this much introduction, probably I will have you watch the film and then we can discuss. Thank you. But as and when I went ahead with my research, whatever was available, gradually it started taking a shape in my mind. And I felt, first of all, I didn't want to do a talking heads kind of a document, where some expert is sitting on the chair and camera is there and they're telling this happened, that happened. No, that was very clearly no from the very beginning. The next option usually is the third person, where a voiceover takes you through the whole journey. Somewhere in between, of course, when I started the film, maybe project 2020, COVID started, and that created the initial hindrance and a lot of circus. We want to get out of the home and to come to Mangalore. I live in Mysore. So coming to Mangalore to do the research and access the books and other things in KTC, everything was getting difficult. So one good thing happened to me was I contacted Tübingen University in Tübingen, and they had a good set of archival material online available. So I started PDF form. So while I was doing research and making my notes and other things, it was like me having conversation with Kittel sort of thing, and slightly what Sir also mentioned. It's like I was trying to extract some of the information from there. It's like, for me, it felt like I'm having a conversation. I mean, very vaguely in my mind. Somewhere it occurred to me that why not, anyway I'm trying to, I have put certain creative constraints in the very beginning. So why not I think of first person narration. So that was the initial thought. Then I wrote the script and I was also parallelly doing research. By the time COVID was over, I did visit all these places, Dharwad, Mangalore, Ooty, wherever he lived and worked out of here in India. And luckily I got a 15-day window of a lockdown was removed and I could go to Germany. So I went there, there again I found things. So at that point in time it was getting more and more clearer to me. Only thing I was struggling was he would not think in Kannada. He would not think in English either. German is his mother tongue, so his entire thinking and everything would be German. So then it would not make sense for me to have the first person narration but have the entire narration in Kannada or entire narration in English. It would not make sense. So, of course, this is not about logic. This is not about the logical thing. It's a very natural thing that came to my mind. Still, I decided I would go with this wherever the conversation with local people and other happens. It obviously happens in Kannada. I would employ that. Wherever because I am using the letters written to his superiors, letter returns to British officers, the reports, the books that he has written, the translations that all the songs and other things you hear of the except two folk, one folk and one Purandara Rasa, everything else is written by him or translated by him. So while I am employing all these things, it was becoming more and more clear to me that it should be first person narration, and that stream of conscious kind of a journey would make more sense to construct this, because from the very beginning, even when you go to the dictionary or any other tendency, when you go to a place, even yesterday I went to this heritage village, when you go to the place and see through the architecture, mentally you transport yourself into that time, mentally, and you start wondering how these things could have been done in that period, what would have been the, that's a very natural tendency. So this scheme of thing came very natural, to me, that first person narration would easily transport the audience to that time and that period, which is what I am trying to reconstruct, or represent, or recreate. So that was the decision. And to say a unit, instead of calling it in a fiction and a non-fiction is very different. In a non-fiction work like this, you cannot deviate from what is actually there, what is available to you. Then it becomes, for example, even I was thinking of using actors, but very limited, very limited. But then when I really went to shoot, somehow I was not very comfortable using actors, because it would be staged and it would be very, very, I was not at all getting comfortable. So I'll just give you an example, it will be clear. That shepherd that you see, so there is an account in Kittel's one of the letters that I went today near Dharwad, one village, and there were shepherds, so many things happened. I was interacting with them, others were laughing, they were making fun of us. Everything is written in quite a vivid detail. What I decided to do on the spot is I told the cinematographer, who is next to me, just keep rolling, I will interact with this shepherd. So I became the Kittel and I interacted with him. I didn't tell him, you answer like this, you give me this answer, I'm staging. No. So I'm generally asking him, I spoke to him for 10 minutes when he was holding camera but he was not rolling, then I just gave him a hint. And now you should start recording. Then I asked her, do you know what is your God? Do you know what is heaven? What is hell? Those questions I was asking. So whatever naturally answer he gave, that is what you are seeing. Of course, it's difficult, one of the difficulties, of course, conceiving this and making this happen. More difficulty even when you are trying to edit also on the stage. Then there are so many things that he has spoken which are obviously removed in the editing table. Obviously, all of that is not there. He speaks so many things. Then suddenly at the end, I just kept quiet. Look, staring at him. And he's also zapped and he's staring at him. What is happening? So I had told him, till I turn back, you have to roll. That's it. So that confusion in his face is also what I wanted to capture, which was useful for me. Then the Kittel's voice says, these people find it very difficult to talk to Christians and all these blue and whatever comes. So these are the things you employ as, this is one example I gave you as an example. I won't call it difficult, I would say it's challenging, but a very interesting challenge. at the end of it, very rewarding.
He, of course, has lived in Udupi and quite familiar with this region and Basel mission, etc. So one comment was about the way sea has been used in the film quite often, and many filmmakers do use such metaphors, visual metaphors quite often. But two rather informations he gave, I thought they are significant. One, of course, Kittel was familiar with Christian company, Barry, Kodava, other languages, Tudu also, which he was familiar. Not just Kannada, but other languages of the region he was familiar. And secondly, at one point, Basel Mission told him, Reverend Kittel, you are not doing your duty properly. So you have been invited here primarily to do missionary work, conversion, but you are not actually doing that. So why can't we send you back? So for that, of course, he boldly answers, even if you send me back, I don't mind, but primarily I am interested in this work and I continue to do this scholarly, whatever, work for the language, people, literature, philosophy, etc. That's what he says. And Professor Upadhya mentioned Professor Vivek Rai, a very major scholar in this region of Karnataka, who has also closely worked with Basel Mission. Professor Rai mentioned it to Professor Upadhya. He mentioned this rather anecdote.
English ಹೇಳಿ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
To quickly answer your questions, there exists a lot of, I would say, unauthenticated stories around Kittel and many other people, especially about Kittel, that he was so much in love with Kannada, so many things. It usually happens that stories make rounds, but unless you have a real documented evidence, especially in a non-fiction format film, one should not use them, is what I firmly believe. So I never found any written documentation or written evidences of many accounts that I hear from many different people. That was one thing. And coming to him being sent back, yes, that episode has happened. But the problem is Basel Mission reports, quarterly reports, half-yearly reports and yearly reports, they have removed many portions from their report regarding Kittel. They very clearly mentioned Bob Morley came, he did that, Weigle came, did that. They go station by station. Udupi station, Mangalore station, Madikeri, year-wise, everything they read. But when it comes to Kittel, one or two sentences. Brother Kittel is busy doing his work. It's under the wraps, basically. So it's very clear that there is something not right about him. But they have removed all the records about Kittel in their official record. It doesn't exist. Now what exists is the correspondence that he did with his superiors in Basel. Unfortunately, all of that is in German language, and that is also not available here. Major part is available in Switzerland. So I contacted the archives that I need the correspondences of Kittel with his superiors. So that some glimpses I got from a German historian. So one German historian I was in touch with, Professor Reinhard Wendt. He is somebody, because he is German, he knows, and he has recorded collected the archival material from Switzerland. So he has come up with a very important book, and that was the major source for me. So I contacted him and I checked with him. He said this was what was available for me. Then I contacted Switzerland, Basel again. So they say if you want all the letters written by Kittel, we can scan it and give it to you. Per hour we charge 8 francs. I said, I'm an independent filmmaker, I'm not supported by any institution, so I cannot afford that kind of money. So is there a possibility of you providing me few letters if I give some specific instructions? They said, no, that's not possible, that is one thing. Second thing, even if we give that, that's an old German. The German that is used today is different from German used during Kittel's period. It's like Hiregange or German. Even if we give you letters, somebody has to now convert that into German of today, and then you have to get it translated to English. Then only you will know what is there in that letter. So I felt that this is not something that an individual can do. These are the things institutions should be doing. So I left it at that. But then there were small instances that were there recorded in the Renard Wendt's book, which is what I have used. Therefore, it is very subtle. If you carefully notice, in between it comes that I am going to Germany, I have to continue my work in Germany. So that reference is there. That is what I have used. That was what is available. Whereas what exactly happened, what exact this thing happened is not available. So I decided not to use it and not to make it very loud or very bold. This thing. Even when he is returning also, there is one small letter where it says I am going to India. I am applying to go back to India to finish my work because I have to see through the press. So these are the two instances I used in as much detail as it was available. So this
So Muraleedhara was alive when this dictionary was published. And so he secured the copy of the dictionary and worshipped it. So he used to worship this dictionary, so it was so valuable. His Ramasham is a famous poem. So this was in 1904, 1906, around that time, probably.
the dictionary is 1894.
1894, okay. This is one. Secondly, Professor Hiregange,
he says Kittel has many firsts to his credit. For example, he translated, of course, German poems and Bible, this thing. At the same time, he would also write short poems about sea, about coconut, about whatever. So first modern Kannada poetry is by Kittel, is what Srinivas Ramura argues with examples. Then another first is this dictionary. As you see, he was sent back. Then he had to raise one. Britishers didn't want to send him back. So they wanted him to keep, because dictionary was very important for them. So they, Dr. Burnett, who is a British, he wanted. Then because Maharaja of Mysore was under British custody, they made that. So Kittel's dictionary is first crowd-funded project. It's a crowd-funded project. It's funded by so many different people, not by Basel Michel. It was printed in Basel Michel Press. It's a crowd-funded project. So that's what happened. Then, of course, Kittel, was very much exposed to music. So Indian music and also Western music both. So therefore, even he got attracted to the Bhramari Shivaprakash and Chandas, basically Chandomudi, he published. So his work on extensively music is also there. To answer Professor Upadhya's earlier question, Barry and Konkani references I didn't see much, but definitely for Kodava, he has written a couple of scholarly articles in the Indian Antiquary, the journal, the scholarly journal. He has written about marriages of Kodavas, He has written about polyandry system in among Kodavas. He has written Bhuta worship. Tulu and Kodava are the references we keep getting, but not Barry and Konkani as much. So this is what I have noticed. So, yeah. Interact with local people in the market. He went to Lingayat, monastery in Hubli, Mata, and he also mentions, so if you know the little bit of history, in northern Karnataka, Christianity or this whole thing is not as widely spread as it is in the coastal part. And one of the very interesting things I found was Kittel and a couple of others, they have also written that Lingayat missionaries have already done the job. Nobody is interested in Christianity. You see where it comes from. So Lingayat missionaries have done the job, and the people here are not so much interested in Christian missionaries. I found it interesting because what Prashanth and others did in 12th century is in a way, very much relatable to what spreading the word of God according to. So many such interesting observations are there, and there are many other accounts. I found many material in their reports and other things, but even the industry, for example, Basel Mission is responsible for terracotta tile making, the weaving machine, so many things. I had to, sometimes it used to get difficult for me to come back and focus on Kittel and his work. There's so many things that you unearth when you are going through the archive. Everything seems to be so interesting and so operated by Hubli and Dharwad cities.
Yes.
There are no more villages. So now I had to cross another 20-30 kilometers further and shoot all these things. So what I wanted was actually those specific places where Kittel went and stuff like that. That obviously didn't happen. Second thing, Germany, after Second World War, it has been destroyed, and some portion they have reconstructed. Try to make it look like what existed only around Tübingen and the rest of the places. Kittel's birthplace, where I went, which is by the North Sea, in the border of Netherlands, is a completely modern day resort spa seaside, because Germany has a very small coast. That's a very modern spa town. And windmills that used to exist during his period are now replaced by modern windmills. So I had to look for these old type mills somewhere, then I couldn't find. Then like our heritage museum here, very close to Kittel's place, there is an open air museum where they have kept those old houses, lot of things they have preserved. So I went there and shot some of the shots.
That windmill is from there. Yeah.
Otherwise, the actual place is full of modern, it's a completely transformed place. In Mangalore, except this press and see everything else, what Mangalore is, I can't. But around Dharwad and Hubli, luckily, so many places, the small villages, still, there are, I could capture them to create the essence of that era. So that was what has come up. There is a Gundert. Gundert is the person who did the Malayalam English dictionary, who is a little senior to Kittel, contemporary. So I asked him, so much of work has been done by Mogling and Kittel for Kannada. Why Hiregange University is not having much, say, not about chair, of course, Gundert chair, and a lot of student exchange program from Kerala to Hiregange and everything is happening. Why not much work is seen about Kittel? The HOD said, why don't you start it? As in, it's an effort that has to be, it's an institutional effort that has to happen to make a lot of things possible. Even a short answer to your this thing, microfilm also. I spoke to the archive in Basel that I want to really unearth many of the, there are so many letters, there are so many documentation, everything exists, and future scholars and researchers would benefit a great deal from it. And somebody has to really, help take this. Otherwise, individuals like me cannot do much.
Database has been made.
Yeah, I know. So then they said, yeah, we are a small organization. Now it's called Mission 21. It's not a Basel mission anymore. It's called Mission 21. It's a small organization, mostly doing philanthropy and all these kind of work. So they said, yeah, we don't have that much of fund to support all these things. If somebody funds us, we are more than happy to open our archive.
Just for your information.
The film moves ahead if some dates are mentioned or the places, names of the places are mentioned. It would be nice, but then if you carefully observe, in the voiceover narration itself, wherever needed, the dates come. The year, which year that particular thing is happening, it comes in the voiceover itself. And the places also I chose to speak for themselves. The images would speak for themselves what place that is what I thought. Otherwise, it would be too much of an intervention in the experience of watching, is what I felt. That's right.